Welcome everybody to the Talk from the Top show. My name is Alex and I'm your host. And our guest today is the business entrepreneur and investor who appeared in BBC's Dragon's Den for 2 seasons. It's Jenny Campbell. Hi Jenny, how are you?
Hi Alex, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All the better for speaking to you. So Jenny, you have been a successful businesswoman that people can aspire to. However, where gold medalists are dedicated to one or two disciplines like swimming or running, I'd like to know when you knew and how you knew that business success was going to be your gold medal.
Yeah, I mean, I started work at 16 in a bank. In fact, I started work at 13 in a newsagent in a sweetie shop. But I started my banking career age 16, and I worked my way up in the bank to a fairly senior position. As you get more mature, you get more confident in yourself and in your space, and opportunities come along and you perhaps see more potential in them. So my breakthrough moment in terms of entrepreneurship and making it, if you want to put it that way, was in 2008 when I was working at a cash machine subsidiary of the bank, and I'd worked there 2 years already. And at that point, I probably thought I was going back to another job in the bank in London. But the bank decided it wanted to sell the business because the global financial recession came along in 2008. So a crisis like the crisis time we're in now. And so they wanted to sell it. And at that moment, after a little bit of time trying to sell it, I just had this light bulb moment that I loved what I was doing and I felt this business still had potential, and I wasn't very proud to be a banker anymore at that point in my life. I got my big break, when I was into my 40s, and because of a crisis in the world, but I grabbed it with both hands. And once I eventually bought it, it was quite a painful process to buy it. I think then I thought, do you know what? This has got real potential if I just get the next few years right. So I could see a glimpse of something big, but I knew there was a lot of hard work in front of me.
So when you were in the den, what type of business were you looking to invest in? Did you already have an idea, or was it just down to the person or what they were selling?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. And I say, look, I didn't come from a special background, industry background like retailing or construction or pharmacy. I was a banker. So in terms of investment, I was open-minded into what. However, my criteria always was that I wanted to invest in products or services that I knew and liked and could get behind, and understand. So even if an entrepreneur was presenting something which I thought, oh, that's got potential, if it wasn't something that I would buy and I could get passionate about, then it's not for me. I need to really get behind it. So that, first of all, I ended up with a diversity of investments. I've got my gin business, I had my energy switching business, which has subsequently been sold. I've got advertising on lorries. I had a herbal cannabis business. So it was more about, could I relate to that product, first and foremost. Secondly, it was about the entrepreneur or entrepreneurs themselves. If I'm going to spend 3 to 5 years with these people, I want to have, a connection with them. I want to respect them, feel that I can add value to them. So, it's the same as I say in work, you've got to enjoy every day. So I'm looking at the personality of those people and the DNA, if you like, and am I going to want to enjoy this journey with them? So that's about the people. And then it's down to the investment side itself. Can I get in at the right price, and can I get out at a good price as well? So can I negotiate a good deal to invest? I always say I'm not here to be your banker for the next 10 years. I want to be able to see some exit and a return on my investment. Otherwise, I might as well just keep my money, in my wealth management company.
Who was the youngest business person that's ever inspired you?
Well, a couple of examples. I invested in Ed Hollands on the Den in his driven media business, which advertises on the sides of lorries. I think Ed was about 22 at the time and looked very young, 22 as well. So young entrepreneurs always inspire me. And to that extent, I'm involved in a couple of charities that work with young entrepreneurs. So I've given help in the past to Young Enterprise in schools. And so going into schools and helping those young entrepreneurs really inspire me. A young lady came up to me in one school one day and said, my parents were encouraging to go down a doctor or lawyer route, but since I've been involved in young enterprise, I know I'm going to be an entrepreneur, which was fantastic. And I also do work with the Princess Trust now, which helps young disadvantaged people to set up and run their own businesses. So any young person who is has a vision and is confident and shows a real passion for wanting to be an entrepreneur, then that inspires me to want to help them. Hence we're talking now, Alex.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur myself, so
exactly.
Yeah. What are your top 3 tips to young entrepreneurs who are starting up a business?
You've got to make sure you have all the skills to become an entrepreneur, and mentally you're strong enough to become an entrepreneur. It can be a lonely space thinking about what's the next step, etc. So just question whether you're ready yet, and if you're not ready, then how you can invest in yourself to get you ready. Secondly, have a good business plan. I don't mean reams and reams of paper, but you need to be clear on what it is you're selling and how that feeds into a business plan of how much you'll sell and how much you'll make and how much profit you'll have and how much cash you'll have. So a really clear business plan. I, as an investor, always want to know what it is you're selling. Is it something that already exists, or it's or it's better than something that already exists at the moment? And how big's the market? How much of that market can you grab at the moment? How much are people spending in this market already? So you've got to have done your homework and have a form of business plan. And then thirdly, I always say surround yourself with the most positive people you can. Do what you're doing, Alex. Reach out to people who inspire you and make you feel inspired. It's easy to be surrounded by people who are quite draining on your time and emotionally. And yes, we need to give people like that support, but you also need to make sure that you've got really good positive people around you to help journey and help you with those areas that you're not so good at. So it's important to recognize where your weaknesses are and get good people around you who can be good at what you're not so good at.
So if you're to become an entrepreneur, do you think that it would be good if you used like a product that is within your niche, like to find your niche and then work from there to become an entrepreneur?
I do, Alex, because I think then you can get passionate about it. It's all right saying, oh, these widgets or whatever they are, they're going to be really big, we're going to sell thousands. But if you're just bored selling those widgets, then you're not going to be passionate about it. And I'd also pick up on the word entrepreneur. What's the difference between a business person and an entrepreneur? We're surrounded by business people who run shops in town, or the plumber who comes and fixes my pipes, etc. We're surrounded by business people. I think that's very different than being an entrepreneur. To me, an entrepreneur is someone that either starts or takes an existing business and can grow it exponentially and then exit at the end of it as well. So there's a difference between having a lifestyle business and an entrepreneur who builds a business, creates employment for the people who come to work for them, gets investors, and then grows something that is then potentially sold on to become even bigger. That's different than a business person.
And finally, Jenny, a bit of a fun question. If you had the choice to be any of the other dragons, current or before, who would it be and why?
There's bits of them that I like and respect and have fun with on all of them, but I'm happy being myself, Dragon Jen, as you said behind it. I'm comfortable where I'm at, in life and what I've done and with my family and what I'm doing now. So, I want to be me. I want to be anything else. But respect to all the other dragons, but I'm happy being me.
Thank you, Jenny. You've been brilliant, and no doubt you will inspire young people who watch my show and who want to become entrepreneurs. It's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it.